Welcome to the Knicks Film School Postgame Show presented by FANATICS Sportsbook. I'm pretty sure we're live. Are we live, Mark? Yeah, just make sure we're streaming out to YouTube because I see limited. Oh, there we go. Okay, we're good. Sorry for the. You know what? We started this postgame like the Knicks started this basketball game.
Way to bring it home.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So welcome to the Knicks Film School Postgame Show presented by FANATICS Sportsbook. My name is Jonathan Macri. I am here joined by DJ Zullo. We just watched this basketball game in which the Knicks had what wound up being a comfortable win against the Brooklyn Nets. I'm very happy to say that it was a comfortable win against the Brooklyn Nets. Did not look like it was going to be a comfortable win for, I would say, about a half and a couple of minutes. But they got there. And I think, it's always interesting because you have a game that you're coming off of, this Orlando Magic game, where the sentiment is so down and so dreary and dour and the whole thing. And you get people saying like, yeah, it doesn't matter what they do the next two nights against the Nets and the Hornets. And I'm always in the moment. I'm always like, listen, every game matters. And for me, I am going to choose, DJ, and I have a feeling you may choose to as well, take away some real positives from how they responded tonight to a game that did not start out the way they would have liked to, but I think certainly ended in good fashion.
Yeah, and there's going to be games where you're going to have to lean on your superstar players. I know the Knicks they're down 3 rotation players, one of them being integral to everything they do in OG Anunoby. And you felt their absence, all 3 of the guys, Mitch out with the illness, Shaman, of course, with the shoulder. You felt all those absences in this game. And from the start, even though I know we're going to get right into it. Karl-Anthony Towns was able to exert his will on the offensive end. Jalen Brunson, although quieter, ended up having a really strong outing, 27 points on, I believe, 19 shots in only 32 minutes. He performed well. Your stars carried you in this night, and they got enough from the ancillary pieces where I don't think anyone played great outside of their 2 top guys, but they all played well, and that was enough to beat a undermanned Nets team, rather comfortably, as you mentioned, taking that lead in that third quarter, extending it, and then keeping it pretty wide in terms of the margin in the fourth quarter.
So let's get right to it. I didn't know, because look, I went back and rewatched the Orlando game, or at least the Orlando offensive possessions of the game. And I came away with the impression that, look, it was not Karl-Anthony Towns' finest moment. He had some possessions on the defensive end where it seemed like his teammates were frustrated with him. If you listen to the post-game comments afterwards from Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson, it seems like there were some, perhaps some references to him directly in terms of, not playing off of the guys that you want to play, that it's, the defense is designed to play off of, and not helping in appropriate situations, all those sorts of things. I say all that not to pile on Karl-Anthony Towns, but to preface what I am about to say, which is that for me, the most important player that I was paying attention to tonight by far was Towns. And in 2 respects. Number one, I wanted to see how his teammates, and in particular, Jalen Brunson, were going to try to get him going, get him in a more comfortable place offensively, because my suspicion, and I don't know if you've had thoughts on this, I would love for you to share them, is that the fact that he has had such a rough start to the season offensively against a team like the Magic especially, I think that was what was seeping into his play at the other end. And so I was curious if they were going to make an overt effort to try to get him going. And then I was curious what we'd see from Towns himself. How is he going to go out there and play against a team that he should dominate? And he went out there and it was, I don't know if this was better than the Miami game. It's pretty close, but easily one of the top 2 games he's had in 16 games this year.
Yeah, and it was a great floor game. Reading it in terms of when to shoot it, when to drive it, and you saw in the first really 2.5 quarters, it was primarily driving the basketball, to the point where you and I, when we were watching this game together, remarked on at least one of them where he seemed to have an open three, ended up head faking, getting downhill, and making a floater going to his left. And you remarked, I thought it was a very astute comment, that his drive game was sort of carrying him in that moment, and it felt like it was what he wanted to do in terms of exerting what he could do against this, undersized and very slight in terms of build Nets team. So you saw the Knicks do a good job of just getting Karl involved in the initial screen, popping out to the 3-point line, and then creating these closeouts, these like micro closeouts, one after the next, where if he had the three, he would take it. But a lot of it was the Nets did a good job of closing that airspace to take away the three. But then that opens up this drive game, and against this Nets team where, if he gets any advantage, he just, every dribble, every step, that advantage widens and widens. Then he ends up having a basic free run at the rim. And I just thought his driving ability was on full display in this game. And when the drive wasn't there, he continues to be a little bit better of putting the ball on the floor and just kicking it out, keeping the ball moving, and not being as susceptible to those like really bad attempts at the rim and those turnovers. So I thought his overall performance offensively was really pristine in terms of what the Nets were allowing, what he was able to get, and then just exerting that physical edge that he had against literally anyone that the Nets could throw at him. It's just a brilliant performance by Towns.
Yeah, this, I forget. DJ, are you a golfer?
I am not a golfer,
so
much to my chagrin, but
happy
to take the reference though.
No, this I think you'll actually maybe appreciate this anymore. There's a saying when you're out on the golf course where you could be having a rough round and you'll get that birdie, where you make a great putt, or even not even a whole hole, just one shot. And it's like, that's the one that's going to bring you back.
Yeah.
These are the games that bring you back with Towns, because you are reminded what he is capable of. You are reminded when he is able to do all the things that he is capable of doing. There's no stopping the guy. And what I would encourage everybody, and I am everybody, I'm saying to me, what I would encourage me to remember is these count too. Like I understand like the games against the really physical, tough defenses, like those take on the weight, to some of us of like 5 or 10 games, because we're like, we know those are the games that Cat struggles in. This was a game where if you didn't get this sort of performance from Karl-Anthony Towns, like, look, I know they kind of ended up winning going away. This could have been a very different basketball game, because he was not only exerting his will individually, but his presence on the court. Just look at the plus minus. This was a game they won by 13. He was a plus 25. So in the 15 minutes he sat, they were outscored by 1,000 points. I know some of that came at the end, but still.
Yeah, and and that's the thing. The conundrum of Towns is that he hasn't shot the ball well consistently this year. Yet, if you look at all the impact metrics, all the the plus minus, even the basic, like the raw plus minus, like he is a positive offensive player, even when he is not putting the ball in the hoop at the same. So when you now get these games where he has literally everything going, he becomes in these moments an unstoppable force. And it's really kind of incredible to watch like what he can do. He had that one sweeping left hand where he kind of changed hands in midair and ended up shooting with his left hand on the way down with like a hook floater. It was a wild shot that like there's 20 guys in the history of the league his size that could even think about doing in an NBA game. And he just does it so casually. And he's an incredible offensive player. And you really, when he combines the ability to get downhill with the shooting, and it all sort of like happens in that middle third of the court, right at the top of the key, where it just can open up for him. And I really thought the Knicks made a concerted job of just getting him in those opportunities to catch and have a defense moving to him where he can sort of read the direction of where he wants to drive. And also if that closeout is late, he can obviously shoot the ball. Then you have this like duality that was really tough for the Nets to handle. And I thought Brunson did a nice job of finding him in those scenarios. Kolek, when he was in the game, I thought did a nice job as well. I thought both guards really did went out of their way to get Karl those opportunities, top of the key, with an opportunity to drive it or shoot it, and you saw the results. It was a incredible performance, but I thought the guards, Kolek, Brunson specifically, did a nice job of getting him in those spots.
And that's a good opportunity to transition to Brunson for a second. It was a meat and potatoes game for Jalen Brunson, but I think you and Benji were commenting on it during our watch along that we were maybe seeing more from the Brunson Cat pick and roll in this game than we've seen for most of the season.
Yeah, and it helps when you have a center guarding Cat, and the Nets for most of the game had Claxton guarding Towns, so that does allow that freedom. And then when you're Brunson and the Nets are gonna either hedge it or they're gonna have two to the ball at least for a split second, and then if Brunson can get it to Cat, that's when you get those closeouts I was referring to, because Brunson is going to command that sort of attention. And yeah, it's the patience of stringing out that hedge a little bit to where you expand the space between you, the ball handler, and then Cat, the pop man. So if that makes that closeout a little bit wider. So if you can string it out a little bit, and then you saw Brunson, it's a pass I've been just itching for him to utilize a little more, going to his left, behind the back pass to Cat for a three. That's the type of, because it just takes, it shrinks the amount of time that you have to get the ball to him, but you just get it behind your back and make an accurate pass. So he was really good getting Cat in those situations. The assist numbers didn't really show it, but I thought Cat was able to catch, survey, and make those reads. Even when the assist didn't count, he was still being put in a situation where had a lot of space to operate, and you were able to make the right read out of that as the driver. So overall, I thought the two-man game was strong. Brunson did what he had to do, scoring the basketball, and you get those two guys playing at this level, even with the bodies they're missing. It's going to be too much for a team like the Nets to stay connected with.
And look, you had a lot of spacing on the floor tonight. You only played Ariel Hukporti 13 minutes. I don't know how much we consider Mo Diawara a floor spacer at this point. 4 minutes for him. And Josh Hart, like the way he's, playing right now, I'm not going to put him into the floor spacer category quite yet, but it's certainly better than it has been at times in the past. And they got, I thought, good looks from three throughout this game. There was precisely one quarter in this entire basketball game where they actually hit threes, and it was the quarter where they kind of separated themselves in the third quarter there, but that was enough. Even though they did not get a lot of those threes to fall down, the nice thing that you did like is they were able to get into the paint a lot. And it's funny, they ended up here with 52 points in the paint on the game, almost double the Nets, by the way. So that's a nice sign, actually. It's, they did it. And look, the Nets, I know they take a lot of threes, but that's a good sign. And I think they left, I don't know, 10, 15 points in the paint out there because they had some good opportunities that they missed as well. Yeah, I don't know if who do you want to go to next? I think everybody played pretty much a solid game. We can talk about Kolek if you want. It was his best game of the year. That's encouraging, right?
Yeah, I thought he, for the most part, had command of the offense. He was passing players open, which is, I think, a hallmark of when he is at his best. He makes passes that, watching the game, you don't even see the window until the pass is in the air, and you're realizing a guy's about to make a layup. He had one to Bridges where Bridges got an early seal on a transition, and it was just Kolek live dribble, one-handed left-hand pass, threading the needle. I think Bridges got fouled on it. I don't think he made the shot, but it was
yes.
Yeah, creating a couple of free throws. He's a special passer, and we know this. And it's like he has these games where he's able to display that with some extended minutes, and it just reiterates what he can be as a playmaker. And then it's just a matter of, is he giving too much back on the other end defensively? And I thought he held up really well. He kept guys in front, and he was competing, and he's strong. And that's the thing. He was keeping his chest in front of whoever was trying to go at him. Drake Powell a few times tried to just go through him. Did beat him a handful of times, but most of the time Kolek was able to stay in front, force a tough shot. Even on that three at the end of the third quarter, it was good defense. Just Powell made a great sidestep to his right, but he did a nice job on the defensive end, it's like the finishing and the 3-point shot. Those are still the big question marks with him. Didn't make a three. Finishing at the rim. I know he made his first one, but I think he missed like 2 or 3 after that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Not ideal. And we're blowing smoke up his butt, and I'm realizing, oh, this sounds a lot like what we used to do with Frank Ntilikina, when he would go out there and he would have 2 points and 3 rebounds.
Well,
and, but
yeah, there were more encouraging things.
Yeah.
Than I thought. Things you're left wanting or questioning, but the shooting is going to have to just turn for him, and he's going to have to make open shots. That's a baseline he's going to have to do, and he's going to have to figure out how to at least be a competent finisher in the paint. I think there's been some nice moments here in very spot minutes, but there's been some moments here as a playmaker that you feel pretty good about it. It just you got to feel happy for him I'm sure he's working hard. His work ethic has been, pretty well established. It's nice for him to have some good minutes. That was important. And then, the other guys I thought jumped off the page a little bit just in terms of their activity. I thought Bridges and Hart defensively,
yes,
not early, but I thought as the game moved along, their activity level was really, really good. Hart, especially in that third quarter, I thought was everywhere. Just block shots, 2
steals, 2 blocks for Hart, and then 2 steals and a block for Bridges. So to get 7 stocks combined between your 2 starting forwards, it's pretty good.
Pretty good. And Bridges he had this incredible sequence where he goes for a steal in the left corner, doesn't get it. The corner shooter ends up catching it, and then as he's going up for a shot, Bridges recovers, gets a block shot. I mean, his shot blocking this year has been a revelation. I mean, there's no other way to put it. His rear view contesting on some of these drives where he'll come off his man and just pursue. Usually when Brunson is sort of being driven towards the rim, he's done a great job of making up for a lot of those, Brunson defensive possessions with shot blocks from the rear, and then just those open court steals and, finishing on the other end. Like, he's been really good defense. I mean, he's been great defensively off the ball, better on the ball this year, but the overall package has been excellent. And then I thought Hart was just everywhere defensively, and you're gonna need games like this with Landon Obi out. You're gonna need Hart to play at a different speed level, and he had it tonight. And it didn't, like I said, it wasn't like it was right off the bat, but it just he kind of grew into the game and did a nice job of just creating some havoc on the defensive end and doing enough with the playmaking. It was like a quintessential Hart game where he playmaked at a high level and just made things happen on the defensive end. And him and Bridges both were really impactful. And as was McBride guarding the ball. Benji was on the watch along, remarked about it, starting the game, really guarding, getting into it. Knicks have been poor guarding the basketball. So when you get McBride back after an absence, getting into the basketball really goes a long way.
A couple of things I want to hit on. Bridges' previous career high in stocks was actually 2.1 his rookie year, 1.6 steals, half a block. So he is clearing that by more than 1 stock per game right now. It's again, he's ratcheted up a whole nother level.
Mm-hmm.
The Kolek thing, I'm happy for him. I'm sure he feels good about it. I said it towards the end. The Knicks need one of these kids to step up, and I thought, again, he always has a moment or two in these games when he gets in. Mohamed Diawara, 2 minutes. He had a nice little moment.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not ready to be an NBA rotation contributor yet. Huck Porty, as we were trying to be kind in the first half. Like, it's fine. I don't know if it's there with him. And then, I mean, Dottie is not even on the radar. So if it's going to be someone, it's going to be Kolek. And, you hope, and look, we haven't gotten the official news with Shamet yet. I imagine that will come in the coming days. So there's an opportunity there. There's a need, there's a hole to fill. Kolek's as good a candidate as anyone to fill it. And then, just get back to Hart and Bridges and Deuce in particular, because Deuce's game tonight was not loud. He was only 1 of 5 from 3, and oftentimes his made threes are the loudest part of his game. But just getting him in there to offer that little bit of extra, you're not going to blow by me on this possession.
Right.
It is valuable. Not to say he's, God's gifted defense. Like we saw the size, the size always is going to pop up on a couple of possessions where he has someone that's a few inches taller than him. But that's, those are first world problems. And right now, defensively, that's not where the Knicks are. The Knicks are in,
right.
We just got to survive until OG Anunoby comes back. And they did that tonight.
They did, and look, and part of that is like McBride guarding the ball is going to slot Bridges where to an off ball scenario much more. So that certainly helps. So yeah, he's not an elite defender, but he's always in the right spots, and he does. And the Knicks, a lot of defense at point of attack is sort of influencing where you want the ball to go. So if you want to weak the offensive player to like their left hand, Deuce, I think more than any Knick other than Anunoby is probably the best equipped at like making sure you get into the ball to influence to that side. So that's an important first step. And I know you said it almost flippantly, but like not allowing blow-bys. I mean, how many since you go back to the first Bulls game and like the Magic game, and there's been so many of these defensive performances where they just can't contain the basketball. And I know Deuce has been in some of these games, has been a part of like some of the below par performances, but if you can keep the ball in front or make that drive a little more contested, then it really does allow your backline support to be in actual position to help, versus if you get blown by, sometimes you can't even get over into help. So yeah, that helps. Certainly. And then the other thing is, you're going to get more Jordan Clarkson here. And I do want to just kind of hit on his performance, which
it was an interesting performance.
Interesting. I think, he couldn't make a three, but he was phenomenal going. His drive game, I thought, was
very good,
really impressive.
Yeah.
Got had some nice finishes, but you're seeing, Shamet was an elite defender, but he again, a guy that can get into the basketball and against certain matchups can really sort of provide some resistance at the point of attack. You saw Clarkson again struggle on that end. We know there's question marks with Kolek. So the issues, until we get Anunoby back, is this bench unit going to have enough defensively? And, how do you sort of, against a really good offense, figure out how to have enough competent defenders when you have Brunson, Clarkson, Kolek playing significant minutes? That's, I think, going to be a big question moving forward here until OG gets back, because you're not going to want Bridges guarding the basketball for 50 possessions a night. You're going to want to limit that. So how you figure out this defense beyond that? We didn't see a lot of zone in this game. I don't know if you saw any possessions from zone, in this one. So that's going to be a big hurdle for Mike Brown to have to jump over here, is how do you get a functional defense with the amount of subpar defenders you just have, in the backcourt? And that's going to be, a tough sledding here. So can you get enough from Mitch? Can you get enough from Bridges, Hart? Maybe, but it gets a really good offense. We'll have to see.
They will be. You might not think it looking at the upcoming schedule, but they will be tested a little bit. Charlotte is middle of the pack, and then after that, Toronto, very quietly, 6th best offense in the league, and then they got a Boston game coming up. And I didn't realize this until I just literally saw it now. Boston with the 5th best offense in the league. So a couple of really strong offenses. You also have some patsy still before the in-season tournament, and then you finish with Orlando in that last game. Look, they have an opportunity to pile up some wins here. I'm not saying I never take any game for granted. That Toronto game, I'm not saying they're going to look past Charlotte, but like, that'll be an interesting game. It'll be
a big, long, physical, chaotic defense, and an offense that has some nice versatility. Yeah, that'll be a good test for them.
You want to talk about guys who can get to the rim? There's a guy that we know pretty well from our time here in New York he could do that.
Hopefully he gets healthy and we can see him.
Yeah.
He certainly can get to the rim. That's for sure. RJ Barrett. Yeah.
Deej, this was great. It was fun watching this one with you tonight. It's fun watching every game with you. Appreciate you as always. And what do we got cooking on the old Patreon before we get you out of here?
Yeah, so it's I have something on. I was hoping Mitch was going to play today because I have a Mitch defensive thing I'm working on. I needed a little more, and it was the late scratch kind of threw a little bit of a wrench in there. But hopefully he next play Wednesday.
The Knicks play Charlotte on Wednesday. Yes,
Wednesday. So
you would expect Mitch to play in that game.
Expect Mitch to play. So maybe end of the week we'll have some little more in-depth look at like Mitchell Robinson defensively with Cat, without Cat, because it's been two different players on the defensive side. So expect that coming on Patreon. Excited to see that. Yeah. Excited to see everything you do. DJ, you're the best. Thank you so much, man. I'll talk to you soon. And an early happy Thanksgiving. Same to you. All right. Later, brother. All right. And then there was one. All right. So a couple things before we move on. First things first, let us check in with our picks tonight for betting and sweating. So as is always the case, we have our 3-leg parlay, starting off with Jeff's pick of Karl-Anthony Towns over 24 points. Jeff, I got to tell you, he hasn't won every one of these picks that he has put in there when it's his turn to be part of the betting and sweating. But man, when he hits it out of the park. Great Towns game. And again, just to emphasize kind of the story of the night, great call by Jeff, knowing and believing that Karl-Anthony Towns was going to come back in a big way from, if not his most disappointing of the season performance of the season, certainly one of them. Unfortunately, the rest of us were not able to take full advantage of Jeff's kindness. Andrew went over 228 points, fell a little bit short, total of 213. I blame that on the sluggish early start for the Knicks. They got it going in the second half, 62 points in the second half. Yeah, 62 points in the second half, but only 51 in the first half. And then you want to talk about bad beats. He had some looks, man. He had some looks. Mikal Bridges, I took the over 16.5 points. Figure coming back to Brooklyn, he's going to have a big game. He ends with 16. So I gotta live with that one. It's unfortunate, which means it's a 1-3 night for us. So we don't hit our plus 445 parlay, but fun nonetheless. And it was always good to get the win. So shout out to Fanatics for that. And then last thing before we move on, I just want to say a quick thank you. I announced it a few times last week, and I'll just say again now. So said it last week, we're going to send 20% of everything we got from our super chats for the 3 games last week. I was going to send a cut of everybody who signed up for an annual subscription for the newsletter, and then also cut of anybody who signed up for the Patreon. I'm going to compile all that together and send a donation to the Thanksgiving drive being run by Mets Fix, my buddy Jeffrey Ballone. Altogether, we were able to raise over $150 thanks to your generosity. So I am going to go ahead and make that donation tomorrow. Look forward to doing that, helping feed some needy families on Thanksgiving. And last but not least, before we get to our super chats, shout out to our chat app that we have been having so much fun with this year. Certainly been a lively bunch the last few days over at chatnicks.com. I mentioned it a few times. We're giving away 2 tickets to Knicks Raptors, which is turning into one hell of a ticket that you're going to want to be at. That game is this Sunday. We are giving away 2 tickets to that game. Really good tickets. I think it's in section 118. We're going to give those tickets away on Friday. At some point in the middle of the day, we are selecting a random person. All you have to do is download the app. Again, it's chatnicks.com, and just go in and make a comment. Participate in some way, shape, or form. You could yell at Armin if you want. You can yell at me. I don't care. Yell at Kevin Danishevsky. He loves that. And yeah, make a comment, and you'll be automatically entered to win that pair of tickets. Again, we're giving those tickets away on Friday. Chatnicks.com, download the app, make a comment. You'll be automatically entered to win
And I think that is that's it. Okay. Let's do some super chats. Starting with hang on one sec. Who do we got? We got Kevin Danishevsky. Of course we got Kevin Danishevsky. Fun game. If we could just survive this week stretch without OG, we will be golden. Great to see Kat get going, and Josh looks like Josh. Really rooting for Tyler Kolek. I think you do a really good job summarizing everything, Kev. I don't give you enough compliments for that, but you do a really good job. It was necessary to see Kat get going. As I'm taking off my headphones. Mark, if you need me, type something in the private chat. It was great to see Kat get going. It was necessary to see Kat get going. I think Josh, and as I'm just seeing, he just made a comment in the post game. He said it felt a little bit like old times being in the starting lineup tonight. He said he had to switch his routine in the pregame. He was also very complimentary of Karl-Anthony Towns, which is great to see. So, look, I thought after a rough first 2, 3, 4 games, whatever it was, I think Josh has played well. Has he been perfect? No, but he's been Josh, and he was certainly Josh tonight, and they needed him to be Josh tonight. So that was fantastic to see. And I'm rooting for TK too. It'd be cool. Look, for so many reasons, for the reasons we talked about. He seems like a great kid. He seems like he wants it. He's just like he cares about the right things. It would be nice to have a young player on a rookie contract to root for again. I feel like that's healthy for the fan base, especially now that we have a coach who might actually, play those guys. Call it like it is. But yeah, I mean, this is a stretch. You got to get through it with some wins. Charlotte, Milwaukee, probably no Giannis. They got smoked tonight. Or they were getting smoked last I looked. Yeah, no, they got. Oh yeah, they got not smoked. They got beat 115-103 at home to the Blazers. Then you got Toronto, obviously tough game, and then Boston at Boston. So that's the one. So here's an interesting thing. They got the 5 games here on the road, but then 5 out of 6 at home, and the only road trip is to Boston, which is not a long road trip. So they go to Boston, and then 3 at home against Charlotte, Utah, and then Orlando. If you could, I'm not going to try to say, they should go undefeated, but you should be able to get through that stretch with 1 or 2 losses. I know you're missing OG. I know Mitch doesn't play a lot and the whole thing, but get through it. Even if you go, let's see, we got 3. Even if you go 5-2, if you go 5-2, that puts you at 15-8. Yeah, you'd rather be 16-7, but if you're 15-8 after 23 games, that's fine. I'd take it. Thanks, Kev. I'm gonna have a beverage. Dan Hidalgo, what's going on, Dan? Cat challenging drives to the rim should be the norm, not just when his shots are falling or his teammates call him out. Hopefully this sticks. So DJ referenced it. There was one play in this game, I think it was in the first half, where Cat had an open 3 and he passed it up to put the ball on the floor. Usually for me, that's a no-no. Tonight, I was like, you know what? It's okay. Because he had the drive game going. He was driving confidently. And he was making shots. He's also been off from 3 for the last bunch of games. And I'm just thinking about this now, but I wonder if seeing the ball go through the hoop on those drives a few times maybe started to get him going. And wouldn't you know it, what happened towards the end of the game in the final quarter? I'm pretty sure 2 of his 3 threes came in the final quarter. I'm pretty sure. Or they definitely came late. So maybe that's what it took to get him going from deep. Either way, I agree with you for the most part that I like that. Where I'm always going to be curious and this is not news, where I am always going to be curious, Dan, is when you get teams that can stick a more physical defender on him. So those drives to the hoop are made more difficult, where someone could get into the body of him as he's going down the lane. Those are the ones where I'm more curious to see how he responds. And, I can't sit here and tell him how he's supposed to handle those. I mean, it's not just like, pass out of it more. And because here's the thing, if they're playing you one-on-one and you're not creating an advantage, so look, maybe it's display a little bit more patience. Maybe it's less of the out of control stuff. I don't know. Or maybe the answer is, and I kind of suggested this much earlier in the year, when you're playing teams like that can't not the Nets, teams that could be more physical with you, maybe you try to get Cat in positions, and this is on his teammates, and this is why the part with Brunson is so important. Maybe you try to get Cat in more positions where he is catching it on the move. And so it is not all generation from him. It is, the blender has started. And then as the defense is in the blender a little bit, then you get Cat coming off of whatever you get him coming off of, and you get him the ball kind of going downhill. So it does not allow that defender to be as physical with him, because you're kind of maybe catching them off guard or not in a great spot. That's easier said than done, because with these really elite defenses, and I do think Orlando is kind of an elite defense, even though the numbers don't say it this year, they just make it very hard for you to move around at all, because they're so big and physical and long and all those sorts of things. All that being said, good signs of progress tonight. Thanks, Dan. Jason MNYC. I think it's just Jason M. The only takeaway from this game is Kolek. Let's stop declaring him a bust after 2 bad games. Jason, come on. He's had it's been a rough year for the most part for Kolek. It's been better lately. Hopefully he can get a run of games to get comfortable. Look, he's going to have the opportunity. I mean, let's project forward. Let's say Mitch is back in the starting lineup after this game, and we get the usual starters with Deuce in place of OG. You got Hart back on the bench. He's your 6th man. You got Jordan Clarkson. He is your 7th man. I mean, tonight, just look at the minutes. Kolek 16, Hukporti 13, Yabusele 12. And then all the Diawara 4, and then the 3 scrubs came in late. So I think Kolek, even when Mitch is back, Kolek is going to have an opportunity to be your 8th man. I mean, obviously that makes you a little small, which is why for as long as OG is out, I think you're probably going to continue to get these Yabusele minutes. Now, I don't know. Did we see the fact that we saw 13 minutes of Hukporti tonight? Is Hukporti maybe close the gap in the rotation between him and Yabusele? I don't know. I mean, shit, I wouldn't mind seeing some Diawara at the 5 if you're going to play him 2 minutes, maybe play him at the 5 for 2 minutes. Either way, there's an opportunity for Tyler Kolek to be at worst the 8th man on this team until OG Anunoby comes back, and OG Anunoby might not be back for. I mean, who the fuck knows? He might not be back for a month. So he's going to have an opportunity. Let's hope he makes the most of it. Thanks, Jason. Scott Thomas, what's going on, Scott? Mitch and Deuce for Zubac. Is it fake trade season already? Is it that time? I didn't realize it was that time. The Clippers, if I know Zubac is having a little bit of a down year, if the Clippers decide to move on from Zubac, they will get more than Mitch and Deuce. What is it? Good old Ivica Zubac. I mean, I know the contract is dirt cheap. He was making like 19 and 20. I think he's making 19 this year and 20 next year. Let's see how close I came. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. That's a bad job by me. The extension just kicked in. I forgot he extended. He never got to unrestricted. He extended a year ago, and it just kicked in now. So he is at 18 this year, 19 next year, 19.5 next year, and then 21. You know, he's like, I don't even think he's among the 15 highest paid centers in the league. And this is a guy who almost made All NBA last season. Again, I know he's having a little bit of a down year, but he's a 28-year-old center. You know, it's not his fault what's happening. Go look at the on-off numbers. It's not his fault what's happened in LA this year, even if he's been a little underwhelming. You know, if you did, and I'm not trying to say Mitch and Deuce have no value, but Mitchell Robinson, I mean, look, Mitchell Robinson at this point, between the injury stuff and the fact that he's looked like how he's looked on defense more recently, that's not a great value there. And then Deuce is a nice piece. We know what Deuce is. He's not getting you Zoo. So you're going to have to throw in, I think they could throw in right now. I think they could throw in 2 future swaps. I think right now they're at 30 and 32. I think they could do. The Clippers are obviously pick poor. If you throw in 2 future swaps, does that get you there? I don't know. You may actually need to throw in a little bit more money. But just from a theoretical perspective, let's say the Clippers do that. Let's say, yeah, sure, we'll take your swaps and Mitch and Deuce. Do you do that? Because once you trade for Zubac, you're playing him 28, 30, 32, 36. I don't. What did he average last season? Hold on. Now you really got me thinking about this. Because I love Ivica Zubac. I think he's awesome. He would have been on my All-NBA team last year. He averaged 33 minutes a game last year, which was by far a career high. His previous career high was 28.5. He's down a little bit this year, 31.5 minutes. You're probably going to want to use him, especially now that he's getting closer to 30. Probably going to want to use him for about 30 minutes a night. So that means you're getting Cat at the 5 for what? You're going to get Cat at the 5 for all the minutes Zoo is on the on the bench. You're still getting Cat at the 5 for 16, 18 minutes. That's, man, hate selling low on Mitch like that. Because here's the problem. You're swapping out 2 rotation players for 1. That's the problem. And I don't think this team is currently constituted with Yabusele looking like he's looking. With all due respect to Tyler Kolek and the performance he had tonight, I don't think this team is in a position where they could trade out 2 of the guys who they were counting on to be among the top 7 of their rotation. I do not think they could do 2 for 1. So unless there was like a buyout guy that was like a real buyout guy that came along, like a guy they were confident was going to be able to step foot in their rotation and play real minutes, man, and I love Zoo. I just don't think that that's tenable. To say nothing of the fact that I don't know if the Clippers would even entertain that. If you're the Clippers, I know you're going nowhere fast this year, but why would you want to get rid of Zubac? Not unless you got a real draft assets. And again, would they value 2 future swaps from the Knicks? Maybe they would. I don't know. Thanks, Scott. Kev with another one. Rooting for TK to carve out spot in the rot 13 in a row versus Brooklyn. Have we won 13 games in a row versus the Nets? Mark, nod. Is that true? Is that what per Kevin Danishevsky? That's what we should do. You know what I love? I love when these aggregation accounts put out like someone will tweet about like a contract thing or some like a stat or something, and it'll be like per the person that tweets it out, like such and such thing. It's not per anybody. You could go look this fucking shit up. So I'm going to do it right now. Per Kevin Danishevsky, the Knicks have won 13 straight games against the Nets. I don't even know if that's true. I'll look it up right now. Knicks Nets history. Here we go. Let's count. Oh, wow. That's a lot of L's. Yeah. 8, 9, 10, 11, 13 straight. Shit. That's got to be a record between these two teams. I mean, the Nets had one at one point, 9 straight versus the Knicks immediately before this streak. Before that, I'm looking. What was the longest streak? Knicks won 6 in a row in the mid 2000s. This has to be the longest streak in their history. Oh wait, no, sorry, I got it the other way around. The Nets won 6 in a row in the mid 2000s. That was when the Nets were really good. I mean, there was a stretch where the Knicks beat the Nets in the late 80s into the early 90s, where the Knicks beat the Nets 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh my God. 13, 14, 15, 16 out of 18 times. I mean, that was pretty dominant. And then there was a stretch in the mid 80s, actually, where the Nets won. Oh my God. Do you realize the Nets played the Knicks one year 6 times in the regular season? And they beat the Knicks every one of those times. Yeah, the Nets won 11 in a row. So this is the longest streak between these two teams since the Nets won 11 in a row from February of 1984 until March of 1986. It's the longest streak since then. And it's certainly the longest streak of wins of the Knicks over the Nets, which is cool. Good stuff, Kev. Thank you for sending me down that rabbit hole. Yes, there we go. Longest streak the Knicks have had versus, well, that's versus this opponent. I think have the Knicks, off the top of my head, I don't know what the Knicks' longest winning streak is against any opponent. I would imagine this is in the running for the longest streak they have had against anyone. But yeah, it's the longest they've had against the Nets. And we now lead the all-time series 114 to 107. So that's good. Thanks, Kev. A Beekstein? I hope I got that right. I should have listened to your watch along. Both Mike Breen and Walt Clyde Frazier kept on making mistakes. It sounded like it. Oh my God. I'm not going to read that. Look, Mike Breen and Clyde Frazier can do no wrong in my book. Mike Breen, especially Mike Breen, is the best to ever do what he does. For my money, he's the best announcer in the history of sports. I mean, he's at least in that conversation now, because you look at it and you're like, all right, well, who's the greatest NBA announcer ever? And it was Marv for a long time. And I think Breen has surpassed Marv. I think he's been at it for long enough, and he's called enough iconic games, and he's had enough iconic moments. So I think Breen is the greatest announcer in the history of the NBA. And then you get into, I don't know hockey well enough to be able to comment on that intelligently. I think, football, obviously, you got Madden. Madden and Breen, two very different animals. Great in their own rights. That's a beauty, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, like whatever your preference. And then baseball, you have your guys who announced local games for a team for like 60 years that are institutions. I'm not going to sit here and try to go through all of those guys, but like national broadcasters, man, I'll stick with it. I think Breen's the best. I think Breen's the best there ever was. Really do. My book, at least. I'm obviously biased, but yeah. Thanks, man. Armin. Of course, Armin chimes in. I've always said Cow is a great player. You know why you should download chatnix.com? Purely for Armin. It could be 3 a.m. on a day where the Knicks haven't played in 2 days and they won't play for 2 more days, and he will be in the freaking chat chirping about something. All kidding aside, it's great conversation in there. It's spirited, respectful debate, and I'm always checking in, even if I'm not responding, and I do try to respond a lot. But yeah, So tonight we did the playback watch along. Wednesday, I'll be in the chat the whole time. So definitely check that out. And you could see me go back and forth with Armin and tell him to go take a nap. Thanks, Armin. TK Knicks. What's going on? TK Knicks. Actually, sorry, before we get this, Mark just looked it up. According to the Google machine, I got to get me one of those. The longest win streak from the Knicks against any single opponent was against the Detroit Pistons. That streak was ongoing as of last year. Okay, that's according to Google. So that's good to know. TK Knicks, the piped-in Brooklyn chants into the muted crowd. Amazing stuff. Quite the fan base over there. Good game. F Brooklyn. Let's go Knicks. It was 15-0 versus Detroit. Okay, that's pretty good. So we're getting there. Hopefully we get there against the Nets by the end of this year. We have the Nets twice more this year. So win those, you're at 15 straight. Ties it. Hold on. I got some quotes here. So Kat says, if my life's taught me one thing, I'm thankful for this time I got with my family, this team, this city. Thankful for the opportunity to put a Knicks jersey on. Okay. Kat says, I've had slumps before, so the experience teaches me a lot. Just keep shooting, keep trusting the work. Okay, that's good. And then anything else? No, that's it. Yeah, okay, good stuff. Brooklyn. I'm not going to say they should move the franchise because New York is a major city and it should have two teams. And like, it's great if you're an NBA fan who lives in the city and you want to be able to see basketball played in person live and not pay a lot of money for your ticket. The Nets and Barclays are a fantastic resource for that. So they should absolutely keep the Nets in Brooklyn. And if you have small children who don't like, crowd noise, like legitimate crowd noise, it's a great environment for them too. It's really fun for the whole family. And as noted on tonight's playback watch along, after you leave the Barclays Center or before you enter, if you prefer, Caesar's Empanadas, best empanadas in the city. They have a cart and a truck right across the street there in front of Atlantic Terminal. So what's not to like about Barclays Center? The experience there truly unparalleled, as long as you are not one of the 87 Nets fans in existence, most of which I imagine are staying home these days. Thank you, TK Knicks. Bill Peterfriend, what's going on, Bill? Mark, we'll do the stat of the game after this. Nice to have a stress-free win. Not sure there's too much to take away. Enjoy the Kolek minutes. Hurry back, OG. Get well soon. No, look, you know me, and this is, people will get on me for this, and that's fine. I don't. Not only do I not take anyone for granted, but I will never. There's no such thing for me as a win that means nothing. I'm always going to try to draw something from the win. And tonight, if it's Cat getting going and Cat feeling good about himself and getting a little bit more confidence, because you know what else we saw from Cat tonight? And DJ pointed it out during the broadcast. I don't think we did a good enough job talking about it here on the post-game live stream presented by our friends at FANATICS Sportsbook. But defensively, he was exceptional. Like, other than the literally the opening play of the game where he allowed a pretty easy lob attempt that just missed, I thought Cal was really good defensively. I thought the defensive glass, he was really good. I mean, I know Sharp got him a few times, but Sharp does that to a lot of people. He's really good. So, like, that's important, and like defense, the thing about NBA defense, doesn't matter who you're playing. Like, yeah, certain defenses will be easier to score against. If you don't defend, it's going to show up. And the offenses are too good and too skilled right now. And I thought the way he showed up defensively tonight was important. anything to get that guy in a good, positive headspace moving forward in the season, that's what I care about. It's the most important thing for me for this season is get Cat feeling good about Cat. And I thought tonight, Cat felt good about Cat. And that's important. I know it came against the Nets. I don't care. Truly, I don't care. Because I've seen him have some dog shit performances against bad teams, and I've also seen him have some great performances against great teams. I know we forget about those sometimes, but it has happened. So I'm taking away that in addition to Kolek, and good night for him and for the Knicks. All right, let's do our stat of the game, and I apologize. The last game, the post game against the Magic, I did not do the stat of the game because I was frankly running late and I needed to get to SNY to do their studio show. So Jonah, I owe you one for that stat of the game that I didn't read after that game. But we got a great one tonight. So stat of the game, 70, 75, 100. What is that? Well, that is Karl-Anthony Towns shooting splits. This was by far Karl-Anthony Towns, as per, again, our intern Jonah Kaufman, Cat's most efficient scoring night of the season with his 81.7 true shooting percentage, dwarfing, great word, his previous best from the season of 68.9 in the win over the Bulls. This was also only his fifth time this season hitting more than 2 threes in a game. I did not realize that. And the Knicks are undefeated in those games. That stat is a stat that I want to track this year. Knicks record in games where Cat hits 2 or more threes. It's just a reminder. It's coming. The avalanche, the waterfall, the whatever overwhelming natural event that you want to pick, it's coming. The threes are going to start to fall. I promise you. Cat is not going to finish the season hitting 31 or 32, whatever it is now, percent of his threes, or 35 or 37. It's going to be where it has been his whole career. We're getting there. And once we get there, man, if he can keep the volume decent, which I know he didn't shoot a lot tonight, but that's fine. We talked about it. The Knicks offense is going to be a business. Okay. Thank you. That was your stat of the game presented here by Knicks Film School and our intern, Jonah Kaufman. Great stuff. What is Andrew texting me? Robert Cross. What does Robert Cross have to? Robert Cross was not feeling great after the Magic game. I know that. First time, long time. It's your boy, John. I am wondering what Kevin Danishevsky thought of Tyler Kolek tonight. Thanks. I'll hang up and listen. Well, I know what you thought of Tyler Kolek tonight. You were very happy with him. I was very happy with it. Everybody should be very happy with Tyler Kolek tonight. He was really good. Again, they need him. I do find it interesting, though, more Kolek comments than Cat comments tonight, I think, which shows you, I'll tell you something. No, man, it's good. It's good to see Kolek play well. I think he's going to continue to get a shot in this rotation here, as he should. And maybe that's how they address the Shamet absence. Obviously not the same type of player, and Kolek he's not as natural of a fit with your other key players, where Shamet was turning into just a dynamite fit for the rest of this. What a fucking bummer that is. I'm like, I don't think I really appropriately emphasized how big of a loss. It's crazy to say this because we're talking about Landry Shamet, but I don't think I've appropriately emphasized how much of a loss that is for the Knicks. His movement shooting and the fact that you could rely on him enough on defense, they just really, really stinks. So I hope Kolek can step in and again, he's not going to be Landry Shamet, but hopefully, he does things that Shamet can't do too, like the passing. So we'll see. Maybe it all evens out. All right, I think we got another one from Robert. First time, long time. It's your boy John. I decided to get turkey tonight, even with Thanksgiving around the corner. Do you think this was a good move? No. No, it was a stupid move. I mean, unless you're talking to me like turkey chili but just like straight turkey. I mean, if it's like turkey cold cuts, that's fine. I don't care about turkey cold cuts. But like, no, if you ordered like traditional turkey with Thanksgiving Day, 2 days away, I don't know about that decision. We got our turkey today. We picked up our turkey from our local Whole Foods. We had originally ordered it for pickup on Wednesday, but then my wife read that you are supposed to not only brine the thing, first dry it, but then brine the thing for 24 hours. Going to do a dry brine. Shout out to Jeff with Jeff Johnson for that recommendation. And then you unwrap it, and then you let it sit in the refrigerator overnight to let it really dry out. And then you take it out and get it to room temperature before you put it in the oven. So this is really a 2-day process. So that's why we got the turkey tonight, and I'm going to have to do this brine tomorrow. So the extravaganza with the Macri's hosting Thanksgiving will start in earnest tomorrow. I'm not ready. Let me tell you. Not there yet. Hopefully I get there. Thanks, Robert. Dan with another one. I love that we're just going with the Thanksgiving comments now. Cranberry sauce versus jelly, and there will be cutlets. And will there be cutlets? Jelly? Like grape jelly? Mark didn't know. No, it's cranberry sauce. And I'll even go you one further. I love to cook. I truly love to cook. I'm going to make, we did our shopping at Whole Foods today. I'm going to make 2 different types of stuffing. I'm going to make 2 types of potatoes, traditional mashed, and then kind of a twice baked deal that I've been making for years. So I don't mind. I love cooking. I really do. I enjoy it. For me, I actually enjoy the canned cranberries. Hey, Mark, you got to hold on. Get up here, Mark. Come on. Say your piece. Come on. There you go. You just did a fist pump off camera.
Well, I had just typed that in the private chat. I was like, my vote is cranberry sauce all the way, 100%. Yeah, but canned.
God, you
has to be canned, and I love it too.
My wife got
perfect compliment.
Delora got 2 bags of cranberries, and then and we were gonna buy them, and I'm like, do we really need to make the fresh cranberry sauce? And she's like, I thought you would want to. I'm like, no, give me the
It
canned
sounds
shit.
like, I mean, after hearing what you've got going on with the turkey, that sounds like a pretty intimidating process.
Yeah,
you've got a lot on your plate already.
Yeah, I got to game this out because my mother-in-law is going to come over and she is going to pre-make the lasagna. So we need oven space / time for the lasagna.
Okay.
But we'll, the bird will be done by then. Like the bird's going in at like 6 a.m. or whatever the time the bird goes in.
Yeah.
And then you just let it rest. But I got to figure out, mashed potatoes, that's stovetop, not worried about that. The twice baked potatoes, those could kind of be cooked in the morning as well, and then just go in for 15 right before you're about to serve them. Mm-hmm. So really, I just have to worry about the 2 stuffings and she's doing sweet potatoes too. I forgot the sweet potatoes. So I may have to break out. Like, can you do stuffing in an air fryer? I don't know.
Don't ask me. I mean,
so at 1 year, it's like it was 2 years ago, I tried to do stuffing in a slow cooker. And I found a recipe.
That sounds doable to me. I mean, I don't know, but
it was. I'm not gonna say it was bad. It was not what I wanted my stuffing to be.
Okay,
that's just me. So I will not go that direction again. So I may have to just do this.
Were you hosting that year too?
What's that?
Were you hosting that year too?
No, this is the first year. We've only hosted Thanksgiving once before, and we did not even cook the turkey. My brother-in-law came and brought his deep fryer. So this is, to me, truly the first time we are really hosting Thanksgiving. So
yeah, and to be honest, there's a lot of pressure hosting and cooking the main dish. I feel like
I mean, but the pressure is on because I want to have a good meal.
Right.
I don't give a fuck
Oh,
about any of these other people. They could. No, I want to eat. I want to be eating good. That's where it's at. Okay.
I'm sure you will
Stay
be.
on until the end. You might as well. You're here.
All
already.
right.
All right. So thank you, Dan. Good question. And there will be no
definitely
colors.
cranberry sauce, Dan. 100%. I don't even know how that's a
It's not even a
who's
question.
jelly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have peanut butter and jelly. Okay.
That's right. Here we go.
Ziad Raheem, what's going on, Ziad? I was begging Brown to take JB out with of the game at the 3-minute mark. He listened.
He did, right?
Yeah, no, he did. With like 3 minutes left, I thought the minute totals were fine tonight. The only guy who really got extended was Josh Hart, and it's Josh Hart's first start of the year. Josh Hart could play all the minutes. He doesn't care. I promise you. So that was good.
All right, last one.
Here we go. Tanuj, I hope I got that right. Love the good work by KFS. Keep it up. You know what, Tanuj? We will. Just because you asked. No, we love what we do here, and I'll do my whole Thanksgiving diatribe Wednesday. Well, I don't know. They better win on Wednesday, otherwise I'm gonna be in a shitty mood. But no, I will just say now, just incredibly thankful. I'm always thankful for the opportunity that I get to do what I do, and I know I speak on behalf of Mark and really like the whole team here at KFS to be able to kind of be a part of the conversation and be a part of the community in the way that we are here at Knicks Film School. And it's just been, I know the team has not been, it has been a thrilling experience for everybody, but it's been a nice start to the season,
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, the Shamet thing really, I agree with you.
The Shamet thing was
that was a big blow.
I said it when it happened, I'm like, my heart sunk for him, or my stomach sunk for him. But like, I don't think I've really like taken the time to actually process. Like, man, he had become a vital part of their team.
Yep.
Which the reason I think I hadn't processed that is because it's crazy that we got there after that's where we were after 15 games. But
I mean, that guy always hustled. Every time he was out on the floor, he might not have done the right thing every play or whatever.
Yeah, but he always played hard and
always played hard on defense, especially. I always appreciated his defensive effort. And that shoulder, I mean, I hate to say it, but to me, on that first look, it reminded me a lot of what Julius's shoulder looked like after it happened.
He was holding it in the same way.
And that little like bump.
Yeah.
That pops out or whatever if you dislocate it.
It's not. Look,
I hope it's not
what you want. Look, he was shooting 42.5% from deep.
Yeah.
They're not.
And his movement shooting, like you alluded to, was fantastic.
No, it was great. So I don't know. I'm like, again, I've like kind of heard, some things, and I'm hoping the fact that I'm talk about being naive. I am choosing to have hope in the fact that the Knicks have not announced anything yet. See how well that works out for me. But look, we wish Landry Shamet the best, and we wish everybody out there. Look, we hope to see everybody on the post game on Wednesday. Two final quick announcements. Well, I know we still have a bunch of people watching, so I'm going to get these plugs out of the way. Number one, I put out a tweet earlier tonight, which I will go ahead and retweet right now. Me and Rebecca Chasen, who we've been doing this Knicks Twitter show thing a couple times here, we're recording a special episode tomorrow in which we are going to go ahead and ask or get people's responses up on the show. And I just retweeted my tweet from earlier today. Take a look at the tweet, respond to it, and you might get your response up on screen and have us talk about it. And it's about things that you maybe were thankful for as a Knicks fan or are thankful for as a Knicks fan. And then I will be putting out a tweet. So I guess I'm telling people to keep an eye out for this. Tomorrow morning, asking for some general NBA questions, because on my other show, NBA Takedown, I'm gonna do a little mailbag episode. So if anybody's watching that maybe has some general NBA questions, keep an eye on my Twitter feed tomorrow morning, and be ready to respond to that with anything you have your mind on where the NBA is concerned. I think that's it. Mark, did I forget anything?
I think you covered it all.
Well, that's good to know, because my freaking laptop is about to die. Batting 1,000 here tonight.
Let's get out of here.
I will. We'll see everybody later. Again, have a great week. Getting ready for your Thanksgivings, and I will see y'all tomorrow live at noon for the Knicks Twitter Thanksgiving show, and then I'll see you on the post game on Wednesday. Peace out.
Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777. Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Maryland, visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Not available in all states. Terms apply. See the Fanatics Sportsbook app.